A cry beneath the stars. The night sky above planet Doron was full of broken stars. Pieces of old ships floated like ghosts, and the ground below was dry and cracked. A lonely human named Jace walked through the wasteland, his boots crunching over black dust. He had come here to scavenge, not to save lives, but something called to him. A sound, not metal, not machine. It was soft, like someone crying but trying not to be heard. Jace stopped. He wasn't supposed to get involved. He had rules. Stay alive, stay out of trouble, and never help anyone. Not after what happened on Artima. But that cry, it pulled at something, buried deep inside him. He followed the sound, moving through twisted wreckage and old bones. A broken cargo pod leaned against a burnt-out shuttle. The sound was clearer now. Someone was whispering, almost singing. He peeked around the edge of the pod. There, in the cold dark, was an alien girl. She sat on the ground with her arms around two small children, one on each side. Her hair was silver and tangled. Her skin was pale blue and her eyes glowed faintly like moons. Her body shook, but her arms stayed firm around the children. The kids were so quiet, too quiet. They didn't cry. They just stared at Jace with wide, tired eyes. The girl saw him. She didn't scream. Didn't run. She just looked at him and whispered, "Please, don't hurt us." Jace took a step back. "I'm not here to hurt anyone." "Then, help us," she said. Her voice cracked. "I can do anything, human, but not without you." The words hit him hard. He looked at the children again. They were thin, too thin. Maybe hadn't eaten in days. He cursed under his breath and took off his pack. "Here," he said, tossing a food bar to her. She caught it, broke it in half, and gave the pieces to her kids. She didn't eat. He took out a water pouch and tossed that too. The girl gave the children a few sips, then finally drank. Only then did she let out a long breath like she'd been holding it forever. Jace sat down, still a few feet away. "What happened to you?" he asked. She looked at the sky. "The Empire burned our village. They said we were impure. My mate, their father, he was taken. I ran." Jace nodded slowly. He had heard stories like this before. Seen too many of them. "Why did you call me human like that? Like you know me?" The girl blinked. "I do know you. Or, I did. Once. We've met?" She didn't answer. She only looked at the children. The little girl crawled toward him holding something, a tiny pendant. She placed it in Jace's hand. He froze. He knew this pendant. It was his. From years ago. From the mission to Dorun. Before the war. "How do you have this?" The alien girl finally smiled, but it was sad. "You gave it to me when you said goodbye." Jace's head spun. Memories flashed like lightning. A quiet night. A girl with glowing eyes. A promise whispered in the dark. "I don't remember," he whispered. "I do," she said softly. "And they do. You saved me then. Please, don't leave us now." The air grew colder. A distant sound echoed through the rocks. A ship. A patrol. Someone searching. "Are they looking for you?" Jace asked quickly. The girl nodded. "They will take the children. Say they are tainted. They kill mothers like me." Jace stood up. The stars above were moving. Time was running out. "Come with me," he said. The girl looked scared. "You'll protect us?" "No," Jace said. "I'll fight for you. And if that's not enough, I'll die trying." The girl stood, trembling. She reached for his hand. Her skin was warm and shaking. Her children followed, one holding Jace's coat, the other clutching his old pendant. They moved into the shadows just as the searchlight passed by. Beneath the broken stars, something new began to shine. The mark of her past. They had barely escaped the patrol. Jace led the alien girl and her two children through the ruins of an old comms tower. The wind was sharp, the dust thick and the cold bit into their bones. Above them, drones circled, scanning. He knew they had only hours, maybe less, before the next sweep. He didn't know where he was going. He only knew he couldn't leave them behind. They finally reached a small bunker he used long ago, a place not even the Empire scouts remembered. Jace slammed the rusted hatch shut behind them. The silence inside was deep and heavy. The girl collapsed near the wall. Her kids curled beside her like frightened animals. Jace knelt beside her. "You're burning up." Her skin was too hot, her breathing shallow. Without thinking, he pulled out a med patch and rolled back her sleeve. He stopped. His eyes locked onto something under her skin. It was glowing. A strange symbol pulsed faintly near her wrist. Gold and red, like living fire. Under her skin, it wasn't a tattoo, it was inside her. "What is that?" he asked. She looked at him with wide, tired eyes. "You don't remember, do you?" "Remember what?" She touched the glowing mark. "This is your doing." Jace pulled back. "Mine?" She sat up slowly. A long time ago on this planet, a human peacekeeper gave a dying girl a drop of his blood to save her. It was illegal, dangerous, but he did it anyway. Jace stared. Something twisted inside his chest. She whispered, "That human was you." Memories stirred again, blurred, broken pieces. A young alien girl bleeding in the rain, a human medic slicing open his own palm. Her lips pressed to his hand, his heart pounded. "I did that?" "You did," she said. "And it saved me. But it did something more." She turned her arm to show him the mark clearly. "Your blood, mixed with mine. I became something different. Stronger. Faster. But the Empire found out. They called me unclean. They hunted me down." Jace felt the room spin. "So your children?" "They carry your spark," she said. "It's why the Empire wants them. They fear what they might become." He looked at the children again. The boy's eyes glowed faintly, just like hers. The girl's fingers flickered with light as she breathed. They weren't just alien children. They were something new. "Why? Didn't you tell me before?" he asked. "You didn't remember," she whispered. "And I wanted you to choose. Not because of duty. Not because of guilt." Jace leaned against the wall, his thoughts racing. How much had he forgotten? How much had he left behind when he fled this planet? Suddenly, a sharp knock echoed through the bunker wall. 3 taps. Pause. 2 taps. He froze. "Someone's out there," he whispered. The girl grabbed her children and pulled them close. Jace moved to the door, pulled out his old blaster, and listened. The knock came again, then a voice. Flat, metallic, and cold. "We know you're inside, human. We only want the woman and the children. Give them to us and we'll let you walk away." Jace gritted his teeth. He knew that voice. Commander Schraal. An Empire enforcer with no soul and no mercy. He looked at the alien girl. Her face was pale, but she didn't shake this time. "They'll burn us alive," she said calmly. "They always do." Jace turned to the kids. They stared at him, not with fear, but with something else. Hope. He turned back to the door and shouted, "You want them? Come and get them." Silence. Then footsteps. He turned to her. "There's a tunnel in the back. Take the kids. Follow the red wire. It'll lead you to the surface hatch behind the cliff." "And you?" she asked. "I'll buy you time. You'll die." "Maybe," he said. "But not before I remind them what a human can do." Before she could stop him, Jay stepped into the shadows and pressed a hand to the door. As it opened, the first soldier stepped in. Jace fired. The blast lit up the room like lightning. The ones who want her dead smoke filled the bunker. The metal walls shook with every blast. Jace had taken down 2 of the soldiers, but more were pushing in, their armor hissing with heat, their rifles burning blue with energy. He ducked behind an overturned table, panting. His blaster hummed low, almost out of charge. Outside, the alien girl and her children were crawling through the narrow escape tunnel. She held them close, whispering soft promises through gritted teeth. She didn't cry, not now, not in front of them, but her heart raced with fear, because she knew who was coming, not just soldiers, hunters, Empire executioners trained for one job, to track down and kill tainted bloodlines. And they wanted her dead. Not captured. Dead. Jace fired again, hitting another soldier in the chest, sending him flying into the wall. Sparks showered the room. The air stank of burning flesh and melted metal. One of the soldiers crawled across the floor, coughing up blood. Jace grabbed him by the armor plate. "Who sent you?" he demanded. The soldier smiled through broken teeth. "You don't even know who she is, do you?" "I know enough." "No, you don't," he whispered. "She's not just a runaway, and she was supposed to be a queen." Jace froze. Before he could ask more, the soldier dropped a flash grenade and screamed, "For the purity of the blood." Jace turned, shielded his eyes. Boom. White light exploded in his skull. When his vision came back, the soldier was gone, or maybe dead. Either way, the room was silent again. Above, in the dead plains outside the cliff, the alien girl emerged from the hatch with her children. They gasped at the open sky, cold wind cutting across their faces. But she didn't stop. She ran, bare feet slapping over sharp rocks, arms holding both children as best she could. Behind her, the bunker exploded. Flames leapt high. Pieces of it rained down like fireflies. The girl stopped and turned. Was he still alive? Had he made it? "Jace," she whispered. A figure stepped out from the smoke. He was limping, bleeding from his arm, his coat half burned. But he was walking. Her eyes widened. He was still alive. "You shouldn't have waited," he said, falling to his knees in front of her. "I had to," she said softly. The boy reached up and touched Jace's face. "You smell like fire." Jace laughed a little, even though his lungs burned. "Yeah, I feel like it too." The girl pulled him up. "They're not done. That was just the first wave. The real hunters. They'll come next. Then we don't stop moving." "There's nowhere to run," she whispered. They've marked me. The Empire made sure I could never hide again." "Why?" Jace asked. "Why go this far, just to kill you?" She looked at the horizon. "Because I carry the seed of change," she said. "And they're terrified of what my children could become." Jace didn't fully understand, but the fear in her voice told him everything he needed to know. Night fell again. They found shelter in the bones of a crashed starfreighter. Inside, the children slept curled under a heat tarp. The girl sat at the edge, her eyes glowing in the dark, watching over them. Jace stitched up his own wound, his fingers clumsy. "You were supposed to be a queen?" he asked. She nodded. "Long ago, before I met you." "Why didn't you become one?" "Because I chose you instead." He looked up. Her voice was soft but steady. "I was raised to rule, trained for it. They gave me numbers, plans, laws. But the day you saved me with your blood, I saw something no crown ever gave me." "What was that?" "A reason to live. Not for power, not for control, but for love. For something real." Jace didn't know what to say. He'd been a soldier, a scavenger, a ghost, but never something real. Not until now. A sharp beep echoed from his comm. He grabbed it. The screen blinked with red text. Tracking signal locked. "Hunters inbound." He swore under his breath. "They've found us." The girl stood immediately. "Take the children. Go east through the old canyon. There's a hidden shipyard." "What about you?" "They want me. Not you. I'll lead them away." "No. You must protect them, Jace." "We protect them together," he said. But then, the sound of engines roared in the distance. Fast, sharp, brutal. She kissed her children's foreheads, held Jace's hand one last time, then ran into the night, leaving him behind, with the children, and a promise. Bring them to the stars, and never let them forget who they are. The promise she never forged in the wind howled through the canyon as Jace ran, the two children clinging to his sides. His feet bled from sharp rocks, his shoulders screamed with every step, but he didn't stop, because behind him something worse than death was coming. The hunters. They weren't like the last wave. No shouting, no heavy boots. These moved like shadows, fast, silent, and cold. He'd seen their kind before during the war. They never missed, and they never left anyone alive. The alien girl had told him to go east, to the hidden shipyard buried beneath the rock, and he was close. But the deeper he went, the stranger things became. The walls of the canyon were carved with ancient symbols, glowing just slightly, as if they sensed the children passing. And the children, they weren't normal anymore. The boy had begun to hum, a low sound that made the rocks around them vibrate. The girl walked without fear, her small hand gripping Jace's tightly, as if guiding him instead of following. He stopped once to rest, just for a second. His chest burned. "We'll make it," he said, more to himself than to them. The little girl looked at him with glowing eyes. "Mommy believed in you." His throat tightened. "Do you?" She nodded. "You made a promise." "What promise?" The boy stepped forward and pulled something from a pouch on his belt. It was old and torn. Jace opened it slowly. A letter. Handwritten, faded and stained with blood. His handwriting. "I don't know what tomorrow brings, but if I survive, I'll return. And if I don't, let this be proof. I loved you. I will come back for you. For all of you. Signed, Jace. Medic 7th Human Unit." His hand trembled. The girl had kept this all these years. She had waited for him, trusted him, and now she had gone into the night alone. Again. Hours passed before they reached the edge of the hidden shipyard. It wasn't much. Rusted hulls, broken engines, and shattered domes covered by desert sand. But in the middle, half buried, was a small vessel still humming with faint power. The children climbed aboard, acting like they had done it before. Jace started prepping the systems. The old console flickered to life. A small voice came through the radio. "Unit Jace, match found, identity confirmed. Welcome home." "What the hell?" Jace whispered. Then a hidden compartment opened behind the console. Inside was a case. He opened it and froze. His old armor, his old weapons, and a journal. He opened the first page. Mission: protect the hybrid heirs. If something happens, hide them. If memory loss occurs, reset protocol will trigger on biometric scan. Jace sat back, stunned. This wasn't just about saving a woman and her children. He had been part of something bigger, a protector, a guardian, maybe even their father by design. A sharp ping broke the moment. Radar. Movement. Hunters approaching. Fast. He ran to the loading ramp. The girl stood there. The alien girl. Bleeding. Burned. Alive. "How?" He started. "I made a promise to," she whispered. He caught her as she collapsed. The kids rushed over, crying out. The boy's hand glowed. He pressed it to her wounds, and something impossible happened. The burns faded, the cut sealed. Her breathing slowed, then steadied. "He healed you," Jace said in shock. "He's stronger than I ever was," she whispered. "But they're right behind you," he said. She looked up at him with fire in her eyes. "Then let them come." The hunters arrived like a black wave. Silent and cruel, they surrounded the shipyard, weapons drawn, eyes glowing with hatred. But this time, they were not facing one broken girl and 2 children. They were facing something more. Jace stood at the entrance of the ship, wearing his old armor, weapon in hand. The alien girl stood beside him, weak but standing, her fingers sparking with energy. And between them stood the children, silent, glowing, ready. A voice rang out from the shadows. "Give us the offspring." The mother dies. The human walks free. Jace aimed his rifle. You came for death, you found it. You don't scare us, human. I'm not trying to scare you, Jace said. I'm trying to remind you. He looked down at the children, then back at the hunters. That nothing in this galaxy is more dangerous than a father protecting his family. The night lit. Up with war. Energy blasts lit the sky. The shipyard shook. The children unleashed strange waves of force that sent hunters flying. Jace moved like a soldier reborn. The girl fought with rage and purpose, her love fueling her strength. They weren't running anymore, they were fighting together. A father in the fire. The sky burned red as dawn touched the broken edges of the desert. Inside the shipyard, Jace stood with his blaster smoking, his armor cracked and his body shaking. 3 hunters lay at his feet. More were coming. Too many. But he didn't back down. Behind him, the alien girl leaned against a wall, weak but alive. Her children stood close, eyes still glowing, small hands trembling with a power they didn't fully understand. Jace, she whispered, you can still run. Take the ship. Save yourself and the children. He turned to her, sweat dripping from his brow. I didn't come this far to leave you behind. You already saved us? No, he said, voice firm. I'm not just here to save you, I'm here to stand with you like I should have all those years ago. She blinked hard. Her lips trembled, but she said nothing more. Outside, shadows moved across the wreckage. Then a voice echoed through the empty air. Human, your blood has cursed our future. Hand over the children. We will make their end quick. Jace stepped. Out of the shadows, blaster raised. You want them? He shouted. Then come take them. But I promise, I'm the last thing you'll ever touch. A sharp laugh answered him, and then the ground shook. A dropship screamed down from the clouds, its engines roaring like thunder. It landed just beyond the shipyard, its doors opening to reveal 5 elite hunters, tall, armored, and marked with red symbols. Not soldiers, executioners. They stepped forward, moving like wolves in perfect formation. Jace backed into the yard, closing the ship's inner gate behind him. Kids, he said, kneeling in front of them. I need you both to listen. The boy and girl nodded. Your mother gave everything to protect you. Now I'm going to do the same. Stay with her. Don't come out unless I say, do you understand? The boy's lower lip quivered. You'll come back? Jace didn't answer. He placed the pendant, the one he gave their mother long ago, into the boy's hand. You already have the heart of a warrior, he said softly. Protect your sister, protect your mother, and one day, protect others, like you. He stood. The alien girl caught his hand, her fingers warm but shaking. If you die out there, he looked into her eyes, then tell them I did it for them. Not because they're my duty, but because they're mine. Her eyes welled up. She pulled him close and kissed him once. No words. No promises. Just a moment that said everything. Then, he walked into the fire. The executioners were already advancing when Jace stepped into view. He didn't hide, didn't sneak. He walked. Open, proud, defiant. You know me, he said. The lead hunter raised a blade. You are Jace of Earth. The one who defiled the bloodline, the traitor, the carrier of forbidden code. Funny, Jace said, raising his blaster. I always thought love wasn't a crime. They charged. Jace fired first, hitting the leftmost hunter in the leg. The next leaped, swinging a glowing spear. Jace ducked, rolled, and fired again, straight into the attacker's faceplate. Boom. He kept moving, using the terrain, drawing them away from the ship. But they were fast. One caught his leg, pulled him to the ground, blade at his neck. You are nothing but human trash, the hunter snarled. Maybe, Jace growled, slamming a hidden knife into the hunter's side. But I'm the trash that bleeds for others. He kicked free and ran, bleeding now, limping but still moving. One hunter fired a bolt of plasma. It hit Jace square in the back. He collapsed. The hunters circled. The lead executioner raised a weapon for the final blow, and then, a scream. High, sharp, full of rage. The air cracked. From the gate, the little girl stood alone. Her eyes glowed, pure white. Her hands were raised, glowing with wild energy. "You hurt my dad," she cried. The world exploded in light. A shockwave blasted through the yard, throwing the hunters back like leaves in the wind. Metal bent. Fire swirled. The desert ground itself trembled. When the dust cleared, the hunters were down, some dead, others unconscious. Jace groaned, lifting his head. His body was broken, but he smiled. "That's my girl," he whispered. The alien girl ran to him, falling to her knees. "You should have run," she sobbed. "And missed this?" he joked weakly. She laughed through tears, pressing her forehead to his. "They'll keep coming," she whispered. "Then let them," Jace said, his voice faint but strong. "They'll learn. No force in the galaxy breaks a real father." The boy joined them, holding the pendant tight. Together they stood beneath a sky lit by fire and ash, a family born not by blood alone, but by choice, courage, and sacrifice. The bond that can't break. The storm passed, but the silence that followed was heavier than war. Jace lay on a metal platform inside the ship, wrapped in a thermal blanket. His body was bruised, bones cracked, but he was alive. He shouldn't have been. The plasma shot should have ended him. But something had changed. The alien girl sat beside him, holding his hand. The children were asleep nearby, curled into each other like twin stars. "You shouldn't have come out," Jace said softly, his voice rough. She looked down at him, her face a strange mix of anger and love. "You shouldn't have stayed to fight alone." He smiled faintly. "We're both stubborn." She nodded. "We're both bonded." Those words lingered in the air. "What does that mean?" he asked. "Bonded?" She traced a line down his arm, stopping just above the mark, on her own skin, the one that glowed when she was near him. "When you gave me your blood," she whispered, "our bodies accepted each other. But more than that, our souls chose each other." "I never agreed to anything that deep," he said, trying to joke. "You didn't have to. Your heart did." He looked away. "Then why did I forget?" Her voice softened. "Because you had to survive. The Empire found out about us. They erased your memories, rewired your mission. They tried to make you forget your promise, your place with us. But something inside me wouldn't let go." She nodded again. "You were always strong, Jace, but now you're whole." Outside, the wind picked up again. Faint lights moved on the horizon. He sat up slowly, wincing. "They're not done, are they?" "No," she said. "The hunters were just the beginning. Now the elders will come." "Elders?" "Not soldiers, not enforcers, something older. They guard the purity of the bloodlines. They see my children as a threat to their empire's design." Jace stood shakily. "Then they'll have to kill me first." She looked up at him, her voice barely a whisper. "They'll try to break the bond." "Can they?" She didn't answer. Hours later, the ship's scanners lit up. A single vessel appeared overhead, sleek, silent, and silver-black like moonlight and oil. It didn't roar or fire. It simply hovered above the canyon, casting a cold shadow. Then a figure descended, tall, draped in robes of silver threads. Its face was hidden behind a mask carved with alien runes. Its voice came not through sound, but through thought. "You are out of place, human." Jace stepped forward. "You came for them, but I'm the one in your way. You are not worthy of the blood you gave. Your bond is unnatural. It must be severed." "Then try." The elder raised a hand. A strange force rippled through the air. The ground cracked. Time seemed to slow. Jace felt something pull at him, deep inside, like his soul was being tugged apart. The alien girl screamed, clutching her chest. The children cried out, holding onto her as she fell to her knees. The elder turned to Jace. "You will forget. Again. And this time, there will be no return." Jace gritted his teeth. He remembered the war. He remembered saving her. He remembered the letter. He remembered the pendant. He remembered everything, and he roared, "No!" A pulse of light burst from his chest, pure, blinding, golden. It hit the elder like a wave, knocking the figure back. Jace collapsed, gasping. The alien girl crawled to him. "You resisted him," she said in awe. "I didn't," Jace whispered. "Then how?" He looked at her, then at the children. "We did." The elder stood again, mask cracked, eyes glowing red. "The bond is strong," it said, "but strength alone is not enough." The children stepped forward. "We are not mistakes," the girl said. "We are not threats," the boy added. "We are the future," they said together. They joined hands. The light returned, but it was different this time. Calmer, warmer. It wrapped around Jace and the alien girl like a shield. The elder raised both hands, but nothing happened. The bond had become unbreakable, because it wasn't just about blood anymore. It was family. It was love. And it was choice. The elder vanished, in a burst of fading light, repelled not by weapons, but by something he couldn't destroy. Connection. Truth. Hope. Later, as the sun rose, Jace held the alien girl close. Her head rested on his shoulder. The children laughed softly, drawing in the dirt with sticks. "They'll come again," she said. "Then let them," he replied. "They'll see something they've never seen before." "What's that?" "A human who doesn't run, a mother who never gives up, and children who were never broken." "What do we do now?" she asked. Jace looked toward the stars. "We stop hiding," he said, "and we start building a future that no one can erase." The family they became, the wind carried silence through the ruins. No more engines roared. No more shadows hunted. For the first time in days, there was peace. But peace never lasts. Not for people like them. Jace stood at the edge of the canyon, overlooking the broken remains of the Empire shipyard. The alien girl stood beside him, her hand in his. Their two children played quietly near the ship, their laughter echoing through the rocks. Yet above them, stars moved. War was coming, again. "You've changed," she said softly. "So have you," Jace answered. "No," she whispered. "I've become who I was always meant to be. A mother, a protector, a queen maybe, but never without you." He smiled. "And I was just a broken soldier. Now, I feel like a man again." "You are more than that," she said. "You're the flame they tried to put out, but you burned brighter." A sharp beeping sound interrupted them. Jace turned to the console inside the ship. The signal was coming from a long-range scanner. He tapped the display. "Incoming ships. 4. Imperial. Design. Arrival in 6 hours. They're not done," he muttered. "They're scared," she replied. "Not of us, but of what we mean. A family. No, a future." They spent the next hours preparing. The ship's defenses were repaired. Traps were set in the canyon walls. The alien girl helped the children meditate, teaching them how to control their energy, not be overwhelmed by it. Jace polished his old rifle, checked the old armor plates, and added a new mark to the side of his breastplate. 4 lines, one for each of them. "This time," he said to himself, "we don't run." When the Empire ships arrived, they didn't drop troops. They dropped a message. A tall hologram appeared in the canyon. An elder, different from before. This one did not wear a mask. His voice echoed through the rock. Human. Hybrid. Children. A forbidden blood. "You will not survive what comes next. But your sacrifice will teach the galaxy a lesson." Jace stepped forward and activated his transmitter. "You're right," he said. "They will learn a lesson, just not the one you planned." "And what lesson is that?" Jace looked at his family, then stared into the eyes of the enemies. Hologram. That love doesn't bow. The next hour was war. Empire soldiers dropped in like steel rain. Drones swarmed. Pulse cannons burned the sky. But Jace was ready. He moved like fire through shadows. He fought with precision and fury. Every Time he was knocked down, he got back up, because he had something to fight for. The alien girl struck with grace and power. Her hands crackled with light. She moved like a storm-given shape, defending her children, shielding Jace. And the children, no longer helpless, stood in the center of the battlefield. Calm, glowing. The girl held her hands up and healed the wounded. The boy touched the ground, and the very stone rose to block enemy fire. They were not mistakes. They were miracles, and the Empire had no answer for that. In the final moments of battle, a high commander of the Empire approached. Tall, proud, cruel. He pointed a blade at the children. You defy thousands of years of purity for this? He spat. For this chaos? Jace stood between them. No, he said. I fight for the chance to build something better. The commander lunged. Jace raised his blade, but the alien girl struck first. Her energy blast shattered the enemy's weapon and threw him into the dirt. She stepped beside Jace and whispered, "We fight together." And so they did. When the last enemy ship fled into the sky, limping and smoking, Jace stood alone on the hill. Behind him, the alien girl placed a crown of woven steel and light on his head, not because he was royalty, but because he was hers. Later, the four of them sat around a small fire. The stars above were calm, no alarms, no threats, just the sound of breathing, of peace. What now? The boy asked. Jace looked at him and smiled. Now, we tell our story, to every world, every race. We show them that love is not weakness, that blood doesn't decide worth, and that no matter what the Empire says. He turned to the alien girl and their fingers intertwined. Family is chosen. The fire crackled. The girl rested her head on his shoulder, and as the children fell asleep beside them, Jace whispered to the stars, "We were broken, forgotten, hunted, but we survived, and together we became more."